Knowing how to price your commercial cleaning contracts is one of the most important steps with having a commercial cleaning business. Obviously, if you are not pricing contracts appropriately, you are not maximizing the amount of money you're making, and you could be even losing money, right? So today we're going to talk about how to price commercial cleaning contracts. I'm Brett Rollison with Clean Consults. I help new entrepreneurs start their commercial cleaning business, grow it, scale it, automate it, so that they can get out of their 9-to-5s and run their own business, making a lot more money. So in this video, let's talk about pricing. So first off, big things you want to avoid. You do not want to quote by the square footage. I know you hear some folks will go in, they'll have the laser measuring device, and they'll ask the owner how many square feet the building is, and they'll just have a price in mind per square foot. This is really not something you want to do. Take it from me, I've quoted thousands of customers. There are some small spaces that are very dense and very dirty and actually take a lot of work versus big open floor plans that might have a lot more square footage, but they're actually much easier to clean. So really just want to avoid the square footage method of quoting facilities. Some folks, when they call you new leads and they tell you the square footage, just say, that's great. I'd love to see the building. What's a time I can come by and review the scope of work? You never want to quote by square footage. Second off, you need to be able to do some second grade math. Do not just go to a place, get a feel for how big it is and just throw out a number. You need to make sure that you know your hard costs, you have a net profit that's built into your proposal so that you know how much money you're making every month. Speaking of month, we actually want to be quoting in 4-week blocks. Okay, so why 4 weeks? There are 13 4-week blocks in a year versus 12 months, right? So if we quote by the 4-week block, we can send 13 invoices a year versus 12. Obviously that's advantageous. Plus it accounts for shorter months like February versus longer months like July. So it keeps everything even, and the amount of service that you're providing every 4 weeks stays the same, and the amount you're invoicing stays the same. So how I like to personally quote commercial contracts is by the man hours. Now this will take some time. This is why folks work with me, because if they've never quoted a place before, it's hard to just walk in and know how many man hours a typical space takes. So what I'll have clients do is go in while you're doing the walkthrough with the customer, take a video of that space, just let them know you really want to be detailed and thorough with your proposal. And then we'll sit down online, go through that video, and I'll teach them how I would quote that so they can learn and have that skill for the next walkthrough they complete. But when you're first starting out, you want to go complete the walkthrough, have the manager or owner or facilities director take you on a tour of the building, and you want to get a feel for how big is the space, how dense is it, is it an open floor plan, or are there a bunch of small rooms, how dirty is it, and you want to be thorough with checking the building, because it always ends up being more work than you think it's going to be when you start cleaning it. So once I get done doing the walkthrough, I have my notes, I'll go home and I'll run through in my mind, okay, how long would it take one commercial cleaner with 2 or 3 years of experience to clean this space? Now, it doesn't mean that I might not put 2 or 3 people on that job, but I want to quote by the man hours. So if it's a general rule when you're just starting out, is that it takes a commercial cleaner with a few years experience about 1 hour to clean 2,000 square feet. So if it's a 5,000 square foot office, I know it's gonna take about 2.5 hours for the average cleaner. Now, if you're starting out, I would recommend buffering in a half hour to an hour just to account for, learning curve. People have to get a system down in that building. And especially if you're newer, it's better to just buffer some time in there so you can make sure they're happy and they're able to actually get the work done in the amount of time you quoted for. That being said, once you come up with how many man hours it's going to be for that building, we're going to do some simple math. So I pay all my folks $20 an hour. So the math is quite simple. So let's say that same 5,000 square foot office building, let's say I know it's going to take about 2.5 hours. I'm going to buffer it with another half hour and call it 3 even. So I know every time my cleaner goes in, it's going to cost me $60 in labor to get that job done. Now let's say the customer wants 2 cleans a week. All right, so I know it's gonna be $60 one day, $60 the next, so a total of 120 a week. I'm then gonna multiply that by the 4-week block that I'm sending an invoice for every 4 weeks. So that 120 times 4, I know that my hard cost every month is $480. Now, if you are having to supply some of the cleaning supplies or the chemicals, you wanna add that into your costs, obviously. I have it in my contracts that all my contractors have to pay for their own cleaning supplies and chemical, so I don't worry about that. So my hard costs for that account is $480. Now, from there, I want to build in my profit margins. So I group every single proposal into a small, or I should say an easy, medium, let me get my cat out of the way, easy, medium, and hard group categories. So if it's a small office building where I know the work is going to be very, very easy, it's maybe 1,000 or 2,000 square foot space, they only want it cleaned once a week, they seem like a very easygoing customer, I know I'm never gonna be there, all I'm gonna be doing is sending invoices and getting checks. My minimum profit that I'm happy to make on that tiny account is $300 to $350, okay? Now, with a place that is 3 hours twice a week, I'm probably gonna put that in the medium difficulty category, where I wanna make anywhere from $500 to $700 on that account because it might take a little bit more work. I might have to check on it. We're obviously gonna have to go in and deep clean it the first time, and it has a little bit more frequency than that one time a week office. Now, we have some accounts that are 20,000 square feet, cleaning 6 or 7 days a week, and that is a very high maintenance account where they have to be spot on because it's 7 days a week. If someone gets sick or has a flat tire, I have to have backup people ready to go. It just takes a lot more preparation and work to make sure that account stays happy. For those, I want to be making a minimum of $1,200 to $1,500 in profit every 4 weeks on those accounts. So that is your basic layout for pricing commercial cleaning contracts. Now, your market will be very specific. I'm in East Tennessee, so I've done thousands of quotes in this area. So I know that my profit margins built in are very competitive with the other folks that are going out and quoting. You need to be prepared to have the conversation with the customer that someone's gonna come in here and lowball quote, $200, $300, just because they're gonna be the ones coming in doing the cleaning. But we know that those folks probably aren't insured, licensed, bonded, they're not professional, they don't know how to actually build a business, they're just the ones getting contracts and doing the work. So the only way they can make more money is to clean more contracts, which means the contract that they're taking on is gonna have less and less attention because they're getting spread thin. So price by the man hours, it will take some time to get used to understanding how much time to build in, how many man hours a specific commercial space takes. That's why a lot of folks work with us, because it does take a little bit of time. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but that's how you want to do it, by the man hours, not by the square footage. Hope this helps, guys. Head on over to Clean Consults. We'd love to work with you. And yeah, best of luck on your commercial cleaning journey.